they needed the challenge, right? They needed to be able to do this new hard song. And it was way harder than I thought. So thank you, David and the guys, for playing for me a song that I like. What can I say? So thanks to everybody who chose to be with us this morning. We know you have a choice on where you spend your Sundays, and we're delighted you chose to be here with us. We continue our tour of love this month. Last week, Dr. Carmen talked about matching the vibration of love. Her talk is up on YouTube, like Nicole mentioned, if you wish to watch it or you want to see it again. Today, I'm going to talk about the heart of love. Now, we think we know what love is, right? It's a feeling. Well, yeah. And our language messes with us about this again. Daniel Nahmod has a song that we typically sing, and David's going to sing it later today, but we typically sing it sometime during February, and you know this one. In fact, you probably know it better than me. Love is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart. Love of my decision, no one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. So yesterday, while I was working on this talk, I was listening to an interview by Krista Tippett from her podcast on being with author and philosopher Alain de Botton on the true hard work of love and relationships. He's the founder and chairman behind the School of Life. It's an online training thing that's really got a lot of people, younger people, attracted to learning about life in ways that they hadn't considered, which I think is fabulous. One of the fascinating tidbits of the conversation happened after Krista said she was happily and joyfully single. And Alain gently reminded her that she's not single. She's incredibly loaded and connected in lots and lots and lots of loving relationships, just not currently the kind that's a long-term live in the house with somebody and argue about who's taking the trash out kind of relationship. He said, another way of looking at love is connection. We're hardwired to seek connection. That is, in a sense, at a kind of granular level, what love is. Love is connection. And insofar as one is alive and one is buoyant, it's because we're connected. I'll put a link in the newsletter so that you can listen to the whole podcast if you'd like next week. Eric Butterworth, in his book, Practical Metaphysics, wrote an entire chapter on love. Some of you have studied this book or read it with Keith in a book study. There are many things he wrote in that slim, wise book. This is one of them. Love is the completeness of life. On many occasions, Master Teacher Jesus made the statement, love one another. But this is not expressed because it's a nice Sunday school moral to love people. What he really said is you should love because when you are not giving expression to love, you are out of the flow of the cosmic process of life, out of the flow of the divine rhythm. When you give way to love, you are synchronized with this tremendous transcendent process. He continues, and I'm not sure most people would agree with this, and I'm still certain it's quite true. Intuitively within ourselves, we know that love is an inner power, not an object, and that our need is not to be loved. Our need is to love. Within every person, there's a hunger and a thirst to express love and to radiate love, to simply plug in, to turn the lights on, and to express out of the overflow of this inner love, a lovingness towards life. We have a hunger for this, but we don't understand the process. So instead, we're out looking for it somewhere else, when all the time it's within us. I think this is part of the reason so many pets have been rescued out of shelters this past year. Shelter pets give us something to love. The fact that they return our appreciation or unconditional love, as Carl Rogers, or unconditional positive regard, as Carl Rogers described it back to us, is just a bonus. But they give us something to focus our love on. I've always struggled a little bit with Shel Silverstein's kids' book, The Giving Tree. It's a story of a friendship between a little boy and a tree. The tree gives the boy apples, and the boy loves the tree. The boy builds a swing and plays in the tree, and so on. And as the boy grows up and matures, one day he asks the tree for its wood so he could build a house for his family. And the tree says yes, and is left with just a stump. This is where it got hard for me, right? Because it didn't look like it was mutual. But the tree didn't regret giving up its wood for the boy, because the tree loved the boy. And years pass, and the boy comes back an old man. And he comes back, and he's got a cane and a walker, and he looks to the tree as a place to rest. And the boy and the tree are both happy. Love gives of itself because it is its nature to give. I'm going to reread today's spiritual thought. I'm going to back up one sentence and then continue just a tiny bit. Love is really the fulfillment of the law of good. Love alone can heal the world and enable people to live together in unity and peace. Believing that love is the great lodestone of life and that love alone fulfills the law of good, quietly I say to myself, I believe that God is love. I believe that love is at the great center of everything. Therefore, I accept love as the great healing power of life. I permit love to reach out from me to every person I meet, and I believe love is returned to me. I trust the guidance of love because I believe it is the power of good in the universe. I feel love flows through me to heal every situation I meet, help every person I contact. Love opens the way before me, making it perfect, straight, and glad. It may just be in my own imagination, but I hear the yeah buts rising. Yeah, but that's, you don't understand. Yeah, but like thought bubbles over our heads. What about loving somebody who doesn't return my love or who is bad for me? Common hour thinking has such a twisted definition of love. Do you hear anything about reciprocity, being loved in return, in that description from Holmes or from Butterworth? Love is ours to give, and we need to include ourselves in our awareness of love. Just because you love somebody doesn't mean you let them steal your lunch money. You may give it to them on purpose, repeatedly, but it's important for your own self-awareness and your own experience of self-love that you know that you're doing it on purpose. And if you can't give it freely, you're better off stopping. You're better off not giving what's not given freely. There's a story told of Byron Katie. One evening while she was out walking with some friends, she was held up at gunpoint by a thief who wanted her possessions. And she looked at him in her very present and very kind, loving way. And she said, "Oh, sweetheart, I couldn't let you ruin your life by stealing from me." The thief was confused and so caught off balance, he gave up and he ran away. So Shelley, when she's doing our pre-service meditation, enjoys leading a loving kindness meditation about once a month. And there are as many styles of loving kindness meditations as there are teachers. However, they all start with recognizing and claiming the good for ourselves, whether that good is safety, peace, love, health, freedom, happiness, or any of a dozen other life-affirming experiences. Until we can embody these qualities or experiences of ourselves, it's challenging to truly know them for or about another person. In Cultivating the Mind of Love, Thich Nhat Hanh tells a story of when he was a young monk and he fell in love with a nun. This was not something I knew before. He wrote, "In the beginning, there was attachment and there was inner conflict because he had the same human experience of wanting to be with this woman, and she had the same experience with him. And yet they had this higher agreement that they would serve as monk and nun. And so there was this, what looks to us like an interference." He said, "The conflict began to transform within 24 hours. It didn't mean he didn't think about her, though. On the second day together, we talked only about continuing our practice as monk and nun. Bodhicitta, definition, the mind that strives toward awakening empathy and compassion for the benefit of all sentient beings, was our support and protection. Even the desire to knock on her door and ask her to come to the sitting room to talk was overcome. We didn't have to make any effort to practice the precepts. We just practiced them. Your first love has no beginning and it will have no end. It's still alive as love in the stream of your being. Don't believe it's only in the past. Look deeply into the nature of your first love in you, and you will see the Buddha. And we would say, or the Christ, or whatever name you use for the divine nature in your own practice." So I'm going to read from the Tao Te Ching. Maria used this in the pre-service meditation this morning, Stephen Mitchell's translation. It's number 19, not one that she used. "Throw away holiness and wisdom, and people will be 100 times happier. Throw away morality and justice, and people will do the right thing. Throw away industry and profit, and there won't be any thieves. If these three aren't enough, just stay at the center of the circle and let all things take their course." I'm going to ask you to consider the center of the circle in you and as you. I'm going to ask you to put your hands on your own heart for a minute. And just feel the warmth, the resonance that resides there. Shut your eyes if it helps you to focus. Feel or imagine your steady heartbeat. Know that it continues for as long as you occupy a body. Know that as an energy being, you already emanate love. You do this by your very existence. Know that you can increase love, the love that you emanate, to anyone and to everyone you choose, just by your intention to do so. The heart of love already lives as you. I'll say that again. The heart of love already lives as you. Now just feel or imagine that love energy from you, as you, radiates out to all those you love, blanketing, surrounding, enfolding them in your love. And as you are able, also radiate your love out to those whom you may feel neutral about, or maybe even those you have a hard time loving. Just rest for a moment in the experience of being love in form. Take a breath and then smile, appreciating the remembrance and the experience of being the heart of love as you. So I want to close with a short piece you'll recognize from Daniel Ladinsky, writing in the style of Hafiz. Even after all this time, the sun never says to the earth, "You owe me." Look what happens with a love like that. It lights up the whole sky. And then a piece you've also heard before, The Paradoxical Commandments by Dr. Kent M. Keith. People are illogical, unreasonable, and self-centered. Love them anyway. If you do good, people will accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Do good anyway. If you are successful, you will win false friends and true enemies. Succeed anyway. The good you do today will be forgotten tomorrow. Do good anyway. Honesty and frankness may make you vulnerable. Be honest and frank anyway. The biggest men and women with the biggest ideas can be shot down by the smallest men and women with the smallest minds. Think big anyway. People favor underdogs, but only follow top dogs. Fight for a few underdogs anyway. What you spend years building may be destroyed overnight. Build anyway. People really need help, but may attack you if you help them. Help people anyway. Give the world the best you have, and you may get kicked in the teeth. Give the world the best you have anyway. Know that all of it, every bit of it, is love. Big L love takes loads of forms for us, in us, through us, and as us. Show up as love for yourself and for everyone in your world as best you understand it. Be willing to make adjustments as needed. Do that to the best of your ability. Bless yourself and bless us all. Thank you. So I want to roll straight into the prayer and hold in your mind some idea of love, big love as you, in some way that you show up in the world. Just let that, and if it's only, and I put quotes around that, if it's only self-love, it's a pretty powerful place to start. So imagine big love as you, as I speak the words. In this space of oneness, in this space of divine love, I see that love emanating from each and all. And I know that whole and holy presence lives, moves, and has its being as all life. And I know that each beloved has the opportunity at every moment to express greater love, a more expansive connection with the one and all at all times. And so I relax into this experience of love. I relax into this practice of love. I relax into this resonance of love as the greatest power on earth. I bless each and all as we extend and expand our practice to include ourselves, all we love, and all those we are neutral about or strive to love. And I know that the world benefits from our practice. I feel so grateful for each and all who have come out to be part of this day's experience, and I know great good has been served and continues to be served by this experience. Blessing each and all, I relax into this goodness and I let it be. And so it is.
So it is.